Welcome back to Beyond Wisdom, where we explore timeless truths for a more peaceful and meaningful life. We often say we're too busy, racing through our days, juggling endless tasks, never feeling like we have enough time. But what if the real problem isn't busyness? It's distraction. Long before smartphones or social media, ancient thinkers understood something we've forgotten, that a scattered mind creates a scattered life. Today, we'll explore how the ancients saw attention, not just as focus, but as the foundation of a meaningful existence. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." To the Stoics, time wasn't something to manage. It was sacred, and attention was how we honored it. Seneca didn't believe people were truly busy. He believed they were distracted, pulled in too many directions by desires, obligations, and shallow concerns. He observed that many spent their lives in a fog, always doing, but never truly being. In our world of constant pings, notifications, and digital noise, this ancient insight feels painfully relevant. Busyness today is often a disguise. We fill every moment to avoid stillness. But Seneca reminds us, a life constantly interrupted is not a life fully lived. What we attend to becomes who we are. In the Bhagavad Gita, one of India's most revered spiritual texts, the warrior Arjuna is taught that control of the mind is central to peace. Lord Krishna tells him, "For the mind is restless, turbulent, strong, and unyielding. To subdue it is more difficult than controlling the wind." Yet, the goal is not to empty the mind, but to anchor it, to bring it home. In ancient Indian thought, distraction is not a surface-level issue. It's a spiritual one. The distracted mind leads to suffering because it pulls us away from Dharma, our path, our purpose. Meditation wasn't trendy. It was a tool for survival, a way to see clearly in a world full of illusion. We often think we're busy when really, our minds are running in circles. The Gita teaches us to slow the inner spin, to cultivate stillness not by doing less, but by being more present in whatever we're doing. In ancient China, Confucius taught that peace in society begins with order in the self, and that order comes through ritual. Small, repeated actions done with full attention. To Confucius, even sweeping the floor or pouring tea could be sacred if done with sincerity and care. Distraction to him was not just a personal failing. It was a sign of disconnection from one's role in the world. When we rush through tasks without presence, we fall out of harmony. He believed that the superior person is watchful over themselves when alone. In other words, even when no one is watching, how you use your attention reveals who you are. There's something powerful about that. We might call ourselves multitaskers, but Confucius would ask, are you living with intention or just moving through the motions? Ritual, in its purest form, is focused presence, and through it, we remember what matters. Among many indigenous cultures, especially in Native American traditions, attention is a form of respect. To listen, truly listen, is to give a gift. In Lakota teachings, for instance, silence is not emptiness, it's reverence. Elders would teach young people that before you speak, observe. Before you act, listen. There was no rush to respond, only the quiet power of deep presence. In these traditions, distraction wasn't just inconvenient, it was dangerous. It meant missing the signs of nature, the needs of others, or the wisdom of the moment. In our modern world, we pride ourselves on being responsive. But to the elders, speed without depth was meaningless. They knew something we often forget: that attention is not just about efficiency, it's about connection. When we're truly present with another person, we honor their humanity. And when we are present with the world around us, we become part of something much greater than ourselves. In the 3rd and 4th centuries, Christian monks known as the Desert Fathers fled to the Egyptian wilderness in search of silence. These early ascetics believed the noise of the world made it impossible to hear the voice of truth. In their writings, you find a consistent theme: busyness is a distraction from the soul. One monk, Abba Moses, said, "Sit in your cell, and your cell will teach you everything." What he meant was this: stop running, stop chasing, stop filling the silence. Just be. These men weren't lazy. They lived disciplined lives, but not crowded ones. Every moment was intentional, every choice deliberate. They saw that the true enemy of peace was not hardship, but fragmentation, the way our minds and hearts are pulled apart by endless concerns. In their solitude, they rediscovered a wholeness that our modern lives often lack. They remind us that simplicity isn't about having less, it's about needing less to feel complete. Even in ancient Greece, the difference between activity and purpose was well understood. Aristotle made a key distinction between praxis, action done with purpose, and poiesis, action that produces something. But he also spoke of something higher: scholē, the root of our word school, which meant leisure in the deepest sense, time for contemplation, philosophy, and the cultivation of the soul. To Aristotle, we weren't made just to produce. We were made to reflect. He believed the highest human activity wasn't work. It was thoughtful presence. But today, we often treat stillness as laziness and reflection as unproductive. We've traded scholē for scrolling. Aristotle reminds us that busyness can keep us from wisdom, and that wisdom requires space, not just in our calendars, but in our minds. Today's distractions are louder, faster, and more addictive than anything the ancients faced. But the root problem is the same. We are pulled away from ourselves. We scroll while we eat, reply while we walk, and jump between tasks like spinning plates. We confuse motion with meaning. But the wisdom of the past still offers guidance. Seneca urges us to protect our time like treasure. The Gita teaches us to anchor the mind. Confucius reminds us to bring care into every action. Indigenous traditions show us how presence deepens connection. The Desert Fathers reveal the beauty of silence. And Aristotle teaches us the value of reflection. These aren't outdated ideas. They are lost practices, waiting to be remembered. A distracted life is not a full one. We may be surrounded by noise, opportunity, and information, but without attention, none of it lands. The ancients knew that peace isn't something you find. It's something you return to when the mind grows still, and the moment is enough. You're not too busy to live a meaningful life. You're just being pulled away from it. The good news is, you can always come back. When do you feel most present? And what pulls you away from that feeling? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. If this video brought you value, subscribe to Beyond Wisdom. Until next time, stay calm, stay strong, and stay wise.